important thing that President Lincoln did. What did the Emancipation Proclamation do?
I know that.
You want to pass it on? Sir, what did the Emancipation Proclamation do?
What they did was they put slaves, or like they make like the Black Americans, they made like slaves. But there was some whites that were slaves, and there was some Mexicans that was slaves, and black. There was like some Japan that was slaves, like mostly everything.
Okay, but what did the Emancipation Proclamation do for any person who was a slave?
It helps. They free them. They're free them.
Okay. So if you look on your note sheet, it says President who?
Abraham Lincoln.
It says President Black.
Oh, President. So who are we going to write that first
equality.
name?
Abraham Lincoln.
I thought it was
Abraham Lincoln.
I thought
Lincoln spells his name Lincoln.
Jaden, where's your pencil?
Interesting. Lincoln.
Wait, what?
Okay. And it declared. So on the next blank, the Emancipation.
Give me my phone.
Excuse me, class.
Yes.
Ma'am, eyes, please. We said, so the next blank, the Emancipation Proclamation declared that what?
What? That says for free.
Please write that in the second blank. That was perfect the way you said it.
Wait, what?
That slaves were free.
Slaves.
But one of the important things about the Emancipation Proclamation, it didn't seal the deal for all slaves. It only said that slaves in states that were trying to secede, here's this one here, in the states that were trying to secede, the southern states that started the Civil War. So he only freed the slaves in the South. Were there slaves in other places?
Yeah.
Yes, there were slaves in Kentucky and Ohio and even up north. So then they had to move on and they had to start amending the United States Constitution. Okay? So the 3 amendments to the Constitution were the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendment. Okay? I think this is kind of a neat image because it shows us everything in the 1800s, before we had copying machines and too many printing presses. An amendment to the Constitution was a handwritten document. The 13th Amendment abolished slavery for everybody. So that's what you should write in that blank under 13th Amendment.
Like this.
Just abolished slavery.
What is abolished slavery?
What?
I mean, like how you spell it.
I can write it on the board, but that's a good question. Somebody raise your hand and tell me, what does abolished mean? What do you think abolished means? Abe?
I forgot.
So what if I say, I'm going to abolish recess?
What?
Is that a good thing?
No.
What am I doing?
Oh, you're quitting recess.
Or getting rid of it, okay? So the
No.
13th Amendment, officially an amendment to the Constitution, the number 1 laws in our land, abolished slavery. What's he doing?
He voted.
He's voting. What an appropriate day to be talking about this, right? Today is our primary election day in North Carolina. And thanks to the 15th Amendment, could every person vote?
No. Yes.
No.
Not every person, every citizen could vote, but what did you have to be?
Above 18.
Not above 18, that's part of it.
A U.S. citizen. A U.S. citizen.
You had to be a U.S. citizen, but you had to be a man.
What?
Women could have voted this time. I know. It was
We
much.
could sneak and pretend to be a man.
Okay, but in the 1800s it was hard. Okay? This is before. Now, thankfully, women can vote. And we are all citizens. So, going back to this guy, Homer Plessy. He got famous and he took his court case all the way to the Supreme Court because he decided not to give up his first class seat on the train. Does that sound familiar to you?
Oh, yes.
Young lady. Okay, but you know what? He is about 60 years before Rosa Parks. Okay? So, these resistance movements were going on for many, many years. However, sadly, Mr. Plessy didn't win his court case. And the Supreme Court said
He couldn't vote.
that it was okay for states to have laws that, okay, bottom line, they could have laws that allowed for separate but equal. And that was schools, that was water fountains, that was all the things that we hear about. Transportation, bathrooms, movie theaters, all these things. They said it was okay to have separate but equal. So these last two blanks, let's bring this to Asheville. Okay? Underneath Thurgood Marshall's blanks, you have another name to enter, and that name is Isaac Dixon.
Isaac Dixon.
Okay?
Oh yeah. That's a school. I think he made the school. I forgot.
Aha! What a
Yeah, because it's
observation.
Wait, there's two A's?
No, he made a school though. He made a school though. So that's
Okay, he didn't make school. He lived in the 1800s.
I knew that could have said his name.
But he was the first black person on the Buncombe County School Board.
Wait, black?
And he, well, you know, actually he was mixed race.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
yeah, it looked like he mixed.
He was, and most of the pictures, this was the one that he looked the most mixed in. A lot of the pictures,
Talking about the pew.
he looks pretty white. But he really, the reason there's a school named for him, because he demanded that all children have an education. He demanded that
Blacks can
students,
go to white schools, the
students,
whites can go
well,
to
this
black
is
schools.
before. This is before. Right now, we're still separate. Okay.
Still
I had
separate.
some interesting questions when I was talking with Miss Caldwell's class last week, and I found out that the first black people in Buncombe County were slaves that were brought here, and they were known as Jim and Sue, and they came here in 1777. So, 100 years before Isaac Dixon was when the first black folks came to this area.
Thank
But
you.
then we're getting into the time that Biltmore Estate is being built. Okay? And so some of the black community leaders went to Mr. Vanderbilt and said, you know, you have all these people working for you and they need a place to hang out. So maybe y'all have talked about the YMI Cultural Center. Okay, so Mr. Vanderbilt helped them build the YMI Cultural Center. Okay, and as you can see, they had a day school, a school for adults, kindergarten, Sunday school, bathing facilities, because everybody didn't have running water then. Okay, they had a gym, doctor's office, drugstore, reading and meeting rooms, a swimming pool, and then later, they had the first public library especially for black
Can we watch that video?
people. We're still
Hey, excuse me, sir.
Buzz. I'm like, ooh,
Did you write down the blank yet? Okay, hold straight. You have. Okay, you're almost there. Here, look.
I hope that all of your blanks are filled in and you've been following along because you will turn these sheets into me and I will give them a
We're not
grade.
done.
There you are. Okay.
Yes, I know. You haven't finished.
I appreciate the way people have been keeping up. Just a couple more points today. Okay, thank you for bringing that up. So there was one blank that I did skip over. After Isaac Dixon, there's a blank at the end, and the year 1887 is in there because that's when he was appointed to the Buncombe County.
Wait a second, where does it go?
After Isaac Dixon. Who wants to share with me about raising hand? Do you think it was easy to do this integration thing?
No.
Why do you think it was hard?
Because they had to get on them. Because they had to make the decision to maybe they didn't like the black people. They had to make